Grant Cardone is an author, sales trainer, and speaker, as well as the original proponent of the idea of 4 levels of action. According to him, action is not just a binary, i.e., doing it or not doing it, but something that falls into 4 distinct categories. 1. Doing nothing. 2. Retreating. 3. Normal levels of action. 4. Massive action. For Cordone, nothing worthwhile in life happens by accident, but by you taking action. The greater the action you take, the bigger the chances of success. If you can take the right level of action and be disciplined, persistent, and consistent in that action, then you will succeed. In fact, according to Cordone, doing so is more likely to predict your success than any other factor. Let's start with the first one, doing nothing. It's what it sounds like. You're not doing anything in life to change anything, learn something new, acquire something, move forward, gain control or mastery, or create. You are staying still. Retreating is actually taking action, but it results in the reverse direction. Instead of making a change, you dig deeper into the status quo and act to undo any gains or cancel out any advances. It sounds counterintuitive, but this sort of action is often attempted because of imagined negative outcomes of taking action. Normal levels of action are also what they sound like. This is the realm where behaving achieves you a kind of average outcome. Normal lives, marriages, careers, and lifestyles that are considered conventional and sufficient. This compares drastically with massive action, which Cordone views as an entirely new level of operation. In fact, he sees action taken at this level as actually creating new problems with unreasonable actions that then warrant further unreasonable actions. At the same time, the realm of massive action is the place where real transformation, big success, and evolution occur. The difference between normal action and massive action is, according to Cordone, the big difference between an unremarkable person and one who has made a real success of their lives. The trick is that most of us think that normal levels of action are, normal. We think it's enough to do just enough and then achieve a kind of middling averageness. Cordone is super clear on this. Normal action will never get supernatural results. He asks people to really think about what average is and if they really want that for themselves. The average person reads around 1 book a year, works only as much as they need to, is risk-averse, avoids challenge, and earns and achieves at a totally predictable and unremarkable level. Then, when normal action encounters resistance, obstacles, competition, adversity, or self-doubt, what happens? It's knocked back down and becomes worth even less than average. Giving any area of your life only middling amounts of attention and effort can never be a winning strategy, because eventually that effort will dwindle and subside, producing very little. Massive action is in fact required to blast through obstacles, make genuine transformations, and achieve worthy goals. In other words, our biggest problem when it comes to taking action may be that we simply underestimate just how much action is required. We may embark on grand plans, expecting that a normal level of effort and input will be enough. It's not simply that our actions are insufficient, but that our entire mindset is characterized by a set of beliefs about what is required of us. So, imagine that someone is intelligent, positive, and motivated, but they have the idea that they can beat out 90% of their competitors without breaking a sweat. This may be an unconscious and not fully realized idea, but it's there nonetheless, quietly ensuring mediocre outcomes at best. The mindset comes along with other self-sabotaging sentiments, such as, if I'm truly meant to do something or have something, it'll be easy and the path obvious. I should strive for balance in life and always give equal time to rest and recreation. I can wait for someone to offer me an opportunity, for permission, or for the right time to start. I'm a good person, so, in a sense, I deserve good things and can expect them. Steady, consistent habit is what counts, so I only have to focus on these little steps. I should never have to feel humiliated, confused, exhausted, afraid, or disappointed. Adversity isn't fair or right, so therefore, I don't have to do anything to prepare for it. If I do the right thing, that matters. Quality over quantity. Intention is what counts. Incremental changes can lead to drastic evolution. Incremental changes can lead to exponential growth. If we're honest, most of us subscribe to some extent to the above ideas, even if not consciously. Perhaps we've been lied to and told that success is for those who are just effortlessly genius or lucky, or who find a way to casually create an exceptional life without doing anything exceptional. But all of that is an illusion. Nobody falls into an outstanding success without action and effort of a corresponding magnitude. Let's again imagine the task of becoming an author. This requires not just crafting a complete and high-quality original work, but also making sure that you are promoting that work to people who have the ability to have it published and widely read, or else learning how to self-publish and market the book yourself. Becoming a successful author from scratch takes phenomenal levels of effort. It's really, really hard work. But let's say you buy into some of the mindset described above, and you have a deep belief in yourself as a natural author with real talent. Let's say that for 5 whole years, you tell people that you're an author, when, in fact, you've never actually completed a single manuscript, and you have no regular writing routine, have completed no courses, belong to no writing groups, and have no current plans for a story of any kind. You're at level 1. You're doing nothing, and your results will be nothing. Yes, it's true that some authors succeed by luck or having access to connections and resources you don't, but even they could not achieve a thing unless they made some effort, right? Let's say you eventually realize that you are going to have to work, though. You have a wild dream. You picture seeing your book in all the big bookstores, you see your face in the newspapers, and you watch your bank account swell as the profits come in from your international bestseller. And what's that? Do you see a Nobel Prize for Literature on the horizon? Well, great. Dreaming big is a beautiful thing. But let's imagine that in order to achieve this massive dream, you decide to sit in a cafe for an hour every Sunday morning and work on your novel, i.e., scratch out around 1,000 or 2,000 words. Well, except if it's rainy or you're on vacation. Sometimes it's only a few hundred words. Can you see how the goal and the effort level do not even remotely belong in the same universe? Imagine that you've identified a goal of wanting to lose 40 pounds. You decide to switch from white rice to brown rice and put skim milk in your coffee instead of full fat. At the end of a month, you actually weigh more than when you started, because you also had 3 self-care cheat days where you took a break from your grueling diet to eat cake and pizza. Again, the effort and the size of the goal are not aligned. If these examples seem too obvious to you, ask yourself honestly if you're not currently expecting dramatic results in some area of your life without making any dramatic efforts. Of course, there's nothing really wrong with being mediocre. If you have a goal you're passionate about, getting your MBA, raising happy kids, building a boat, you might make that your priority and consciously decide that other areas in your life can be mediocre. So you prioritize your career and put your fitness on the back burner. Focus on your kids and downplay the value of creative expression, or dedicate every hour to building that boat, knowing that you can tidy your house some other time. That's fine. The problem arises when you know that something is a passion and a priority for you, and expect that mediocre input will somehow translate to meteoric success. Cardone is big on duty, obligation, and responsibility. This means being a grown-up about your goals and realizing that you are in charge of achieving them. If you forfeit that responsibility, the best you can ever expect is to be kind of middling. If you don't take ownership of your mistakes, you can't do anything to correct them. What massive action looks like. Massive action means consistently doing more than the average person under similar conditions. It means going beyond what is expected as normal. It also means acting according to one's purpose, drive, desire, and life vision. It's easy to think big, but the real challenge comes in follow-through. To be truly impactful, massive action can sometimes just mean incredibly focused, targeted action. If we have worked out what matters and what gets results, and apply ourselves relentlessly to doing only those things, this is massive action. By the same token, we can do big, flashy actions that are useless since they lack any real strategy. So, don't get too hung up on massive, meaning highly visible, risky, dramatic, or arrogant. Step 1. What is your goal? You can't take massive action if you're not even really clear about what you want. Wishy-washy goals always fail. Think about it. How could they be achieved when they don't strictly exist? Your goal needs to be concrete and realistic. What do you want? What specifically do you want? What will that look and feel like? What are all the steps from where you are to this end point? How will you know when the goal is achieved? Is there a deadline? Where and when are you going to take action toward it? Implementation, intention. Step 2, resign yourself to the fact of hard work. Truthfully, many people conjure up a great-sounding goal and then do nothing. Being clear about your desires is great, but it doesn't guarantee you a thing. People can hold themselves back simply because they have not psychologically made the leap into hard work. They sense that embarking for real on the goal would mean leaving behind a certain ease and comfort, and they would prefer not to struggle or feel awkward, uncertain, or tired, so they stay in their comfort zone, never really starting. We've explored these ideas already. Procrastination, perfectionism. All these things are simply an unwillingness to embrace the discomfort that change always brings. And that includes good change that we say we want. You cannot take massive action half-heartedly or by accident. You're required to face your fear head-on and engage with the idea of rejection, criticism, mistakes, and the blood, sweat, and tears of hard work that may nevertheless result in failure. For some people, it's preferable to hold on to unfulfilled potential than to actually try to find out for sure that they don't have what it takes. So it's easier to say, I could have been a brilliant author, than it is to roll up your sleeves and do it and face up to how good an author you really are. Step 2 may be the most difficult of all, since it requires an almost supernatural level of courage. We need to be honest with ourselves about the hard work that's in store for us, if we mean it when we say we want to achieve our dreams. There are no guarantees, and while it's possible to distract yourself with superficial busy work, deep down you know that this doesn't really move you forward. The only forward is through discomfort. There's no cheat code, no shortcut, and no special hack that gets you around the discomfort. Make peace with that. Step 3, commit yourself. Action is great, but you cannot act just once. You need to act that way again and again and again. Think of it like marriage. You make your vows once, but really your commitment comes in every single choice you make every day after that vow. You need to be unwavering. It helps to literally write down your commitment to yourself. Create a contract where you outline exactly what promises you're making to yourself, what you'll do, when, and how. Don't think in terms of a grand single gesture, but in terms of consistent habit. What will you do every day? Write down your rituals and routines. Increase your chances of following your contract by making a public declaration or asking an accountability partner to hold you to your word. Step 4, know the price of success and pay it willingly. Every goal costs something. Every success that is worth anything will take its toll on you. So what is the cost, and how will you bear it? You might need to sacrifice time, energy, and resources. You might need to let go of something else that's also important to you. You might need to pass up on pleasurable activities or forego certain treats and comforts. Going even deeper, your entire life might change. You might change. The way you think about life and yourself may be permanently altered. You may take on a heightened sense of responsibility for the rest of your life. Take on these costs with open eyes. Just because you're pursuing your life's dream, it doesn't mean that everything will be perfect and painless once you've achieved it. Step 6, light a fire under your butt. Finally, you need a sense of urgency. Writing a novel, for example, takes time. Lots of it. Start now. Don't assume that you have all the time in the world. It's later than you think. Saying one day is the same as saying never. Don't forget that part of your journey will be missteps, accidents, and failures. These take time too. You're not rushing, but at the same time, nobody ever relaxed their way into incredible success. Be brisk, energetic, and driven. Set deadlines, and go for it. Not tomorrow, but now. Your goal should be of such all-engrossing energy in your mind that it keeps you up at night and pops into your head first thing in the morning. It has to be something you can't pull yourself away from. Dig deep and find that energy source that'll fire you up, whether that's a sense of purpose, a duty to others, a life vision, or even just the vanity of proving everyone wrong. Be a little unreasonable in your actions. Be a little excessive and allow yourself to become obsessed by your goal. The alternative is usually mediocrity. This has been Think Less, Do More. Create an action bias, stop overthinking, and learn how to actually change your life. Written by Peter Hollins, narrated by Russell Newton. Copyright 2023 by Peter Hollins. Production copyright by Peter Hollins.